Una forum.
Good evening from Nairobi, Kenya. It's 9 p.m. East African time, September 6th, 2021. My name is Mboya, sign language interpreter. Tonight is Lucy Mwaura.
My name is Purity Museo, and top on Prime Edition tonight.
It's a dusk to dawn curfew in conflict-ridden parts of Laikipia County as the government gives illegal occupants a 48-hour ultimatum to move out.
May it please His Excellency to show these our young people all the skills on how to acquire such property in such a short time.
From millionaire to billionaire, Jubilee Secretary General Raphael Tuju now wants DP William Ruto to explain source of his wealth.
Hiyo bibi yao walipiga, wale ambao walipiga walihongwa, lakini tumeweka kando kidogo, hiyo rege imeenda likizo off time, lakini itarudi.
New twist in BBI bill ruling. ODM leader Raila Odinga now claims judges were compromised to rule against the bill. Thank you all for joining us.
At KBC Channel 1 News, at Purity_Museo and at Mboya24, the hashtag to use is Prime Edition. Talk to us.
Let's begin with our lead story. The government has imposed a dusk to dawn curfew in Laikipia Nature Conservancy and its environs and commenced a security operation to flush out all illegal occupants. This as politicians, public officers and others who have illegally moved their livestock into the conflict zone have been ordered to remove the same within the next 48 hours. The move by government comes just hours after one person was shot dead by armed bandits in Mikinduru village in Olmoran. Timothy Kipnusu opens our coverage tonight with that security report.
On Monday, the National Security Council met at State House in Nairobi to review the security situation in parts of Laikipia County, especially in the Laikipia Nature Conservancy. Following the meeting, it was decided that the area be declared as disturbed and a security operation launched immediately. The government has declared a dusk to dawn curfew in area and ordered the withdrawal of livestock from the troubled conservancy. The region has witnessed constant insecurity fueled by cattle rustling competition for scarce water and pasture.
We are requesting for an emergency fund in the Ministry of Roads and Infrastructure to attend with immediate effect areas that are troubled in Laikipia North constituency and parts of Laikipia West.
We are just waiting who will be next. And you know, that kind of hopelessness, that kind of helplessness is not acceptable.
Just hours before the National Security Council sat Monday, one man was shot dead by armed bandits in Mikinduru village in Olmoran.
Hapa angeleta kifaro 10, hiyo kazi ingekuwa imeisha. Angeleta ndege ifanye kama Mount Elgon. Kwani Mount Elgon ifanywe operation na hapa wanaogopa kufanywa operation. Na kama kuna watu wako na godfather yawa, basi watuambie sisi wengine hatuna godfather bali tutaenda.
We are 1 year to an election and now we are again into conflicts.
The government says it will flush out all illegal occupants and rid the region of bandits.
From the reports, the attacks seem to be well planned, well executed, and to some extent the security organs in the area have fallen casualty of these attacks, with several of their camps being raided even during the day.
And that is why I'm wondering at the importance of our security agencies. As we are speaking with you now, the cows are grazing on the maize. You know, these are people's property. They invested in plowing the land, in planting the maize, and they are almost ready to be harvested. But as we talk now, hundreds of cattle are grazing on those maize. And nothing is happening.
Timothy Kipnosu for Prime Edition.
The Jubilee Party has launched a scathing attack on its deputy party leader William Ruto, accusing him of political blackmail. Jubilee Party Secretary General Raphael Tuju says Ruto has continued to entertain his allies as they drag and disrespect the person of the founding president of the nation and his family in their quest to settle political scores. And as Safina Cheng Oma reports, Tuju has dared the DP to explain how his wealth grew from 100 million shillings in 2015 to billions in 2021.
The simmering divisions within the Jubilee Party seems to have boiled over as the accusations and counter-accusations continue. The gloves are finally off as the rifts between two factions within the Jubilee Party widened twofold on Monday. In a thinly veiled onslaught on the deputy party leader, Jubilee, through Secretary General Raphael Tuju, has accused Ruto of holding the party at ransom.
The Deputy President, William Ruto, possessed some, quote-unquote, political blackmail stock options that he used to his great personal advantage. Unfortunately, for the so-called UDA, political blackmail stock options have a battery life and have a shelf life.
The decent thing would be, a person who believes in decency would have been to take the earliest opportunity and to say, now that I have moved to my party, UDA, I hereby tender my resignation as a member of Jubilee and as Deputy President.
Tuju accused the Deputy President of standing by as his political allies continue to disrespect the President and the First Family.
We believe that our President has been very tolerant and has accommodated his past behavior and demands as a statesman whose mission is to make Kenya viable by uniting our country.
Last week, the Deputy President mocked what he termed as an attempt by some senior government officials to conduct his lifestyle audit in the full glare of the public.
Walisahau pia kuweka shares. Niko na shares 400,000 ya Safaricom. Wangeweka hiyo. Wamejaribu kufanya hiyo lifestyle audit ya William Ruto. So sasa wangeendelea sasa na hiyo lifestyle audit, tuende kwa mwingine, namna hiyo.
Tuju challenged the DP to share his expertise on how to acquire quick wealth.
May it please His Excellency to show these our young people all the skills on how to acquire such property in such a short time. We may not possess the supernatural powers of hard work that he has, but at least he should teach us something else apart from the wheelbarrows. Show us another way to perform such miracles.
Despite the ongoing rifts, the Jubilee Party maintains that its focus as a party is to unite Kenyans, deliver on its mandate, and prepare for the 2022 general elections. For Prime Edition, I'm Safin Aching Oma.
Bare-knuckle politics in Jubilee. Meanwhile, the Orange Democratic Movement party leader Raila Amolo Odinga claims that the Court of Appeal judges were compromised to rule against the BBI bill. In a meeting with a section of border operators here in Nairobi, Raila claimed that the proponents of the Building Bridges initiative have accepted the ruling, though he claims it lacked objectivity. Gladys Mungai reports.
ODM leader Raila Odinga has accused the judiciary of being compromised in the recent BBI ruling that upheld the decision by the High Court that declared BBI null and void. Odinga, who spoke in a meeting that sought to consolidate his support among the border riders, claimed that although they were content with the ruling, the decision by the 7-judge bench was neither objective, fair nor transparent.
Hiyo bibi hao walipiga, wale ambao walipiga walihongwa, lakini tumeweka kando kidogo. Hiyo rege imeenda likizo off time, lakini itarudi.
Leaders who attended the meeting calling for peace, claiming that the ODM party was not to watch as different political factions instigated chaos across the country.
Uhuru Kenyatta amesema kwamba tafadhali tupe break. Umeiba kwa miaka 5 tumekuwa serikalini. Yes, nilivumilia. Lakini wewe umetoka umeamua kwamba lazima uchafue inchi ndiposa uchukue uongozi.
During the meeting, a raft of measures, among them the creation of database on matters border, building of lanes to reduce border accidents, and addressing constant harassment by county enforcement officers were proposed.
Muache kusumbuliwa na hawa polisi na hawa watu wa kanjo, na mimi nawahakikishia next year, mwaka ujao, hii shida yote itakuwa imeisha, kwa sababu nyinyi wenyewe mmesema the right person will be in power.
For Prime Edition, I'm Gladys Mongai.
To more politics, a section of Jubilee legislators Monday held a meeting with former Cabinet Secretary Mwangi Kiunjuri and KNUCKLE Kenya party leader Martha Karua to seek a common position for the region. Speaking after the meeting, Kieni Member of Parliament Kanini Kega said leaders from the region are trying to build consensus and explore possibilities of the region speaking with one voice.
The meeting brought together Kiunjuri, KNUCKLE Kenya's Martha Karua and Kieni MP Kanini Kega, as well as Murang'a MP Sabina Chege, among other elected leaders, to find a common position. The meeting coming a day after the Deputy President concluded a Central Kenya Consultative Forum with MPs allied to him in Kiunjuri's backyard of Nanyuki. The leaders, however, insist the team meeting Monday had nothing to do with the 2022 succession, but the interests of the region.
We are committed to unity of purpose. We are committed to multipartyism. Nobody is being told to leave their party, unless, of course, if they wish. We remain in our parties, but we have unity of purpose for Mount Kenya region. That's the purpose of today's meeting.
The escalation of a meeting will be next week as Kiunjuri and Karua seek to enlist all elected members of the region for a common position.
We want our leaders to be present in the next meeting as we deliberate on the issues that are going to be our wish list to any candidate who is seeking the presidency of this country.
Meanwhile, Murang'a Governor Mwangi wa Iria is accusing police of harassing and intimidating him after his presidential campaign caravan was blocked by police in Nyandarua. Wairia insists that the Mount Kenya region must have a presidential candidate in 2022.
It means that we are being profiled, we are being caged, we are being boxed, and our voice is not supposed to be heard. I want to tell those people that they are lying to themselves.
John Jacob Curia, Prime Edition.
Well, as the mountain was exploring the possibility of the region speaking in one voice, former nominated Senator Paul Njoroge has filed a petition at the High Court challenging the 9th August 2022 general election date set by the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission. In an affidavit, Njoroge claims IEBC was not fully constituted and therefore did not have a substantive chief executive officer when it set the election date, and that the term of the president and his deputy will not have lapsed by then. Sarafina Robi reports.
In the petition filed at the High Court, Njoroge claims IEBC set the 9th of August 2022 election date, yet it was not properly constituted, as it did not have the requisite quorum of its commissioners nor a substantive CEO. The former senator is also challenging the tendering process undertaken by the electoral body, saying at the time of initiating the process, the commission was not fully constituted as required by law. Njoroge claims on the 26th of October 2017, a repeat president election was held and the head of state and his deputy will not have served their full 5-year term by August the 9th, 2022. Njoroge now wants the court to stop the decision made by the IEBC pending hearing and determination of the application. Meanwhile, Godfrey Otieno Ouma has been charged with the intention to defraud a company within Nairobi of surgical gloves valued at over 800,000 shillings. Ouma was granted a bond of 500,000 Kenyan shillings and a surety of similar amount or a cash bail of 300,000 Kenyan shillings. Elsewhere, Eunice Lewa has been charged at a Kiambu court with 4 counts of obtaining money by false pretense, forging documents and stealing. The suspect, a resident of Kahawa Sukari, was arrested in Gatundu, where when she attempted to sell a Toyota Wish of registration number KCF 263A, previously hired from Kitale. For Prime Edition, I'm Sarafina Robi.
To COVID-19 statistics here in the country, Kenya has recorded another 258 new coronavirus cases out of 3,137 samples screened in the last 24 hours. The new figures represent a positivity rate of 8.2%. In the latest statistics released by the Ministry of Health, 9 more deaths were recorded, all of them from late audits conducted in September. The death toll now stands at 4,795. Globally, over 220 million cases have been reported, with the number of fatalities standing at slightly over 4.5 million as per the data from Johns Hopkins University. Now, moving on, still on the COVID-19, no type of COVID-19 vaccine is inferior to other, hence no need to be selective. This is the Minister of Health message to Kenyans who are yet to go for the jab, allegedly waiting for their preferred vaccine brand. According to Health Chief Administrative Secretary Dr. Rashid Aman, all vaccines available in the country have a similar efficacy. Aman says all available vaccines have been certified by the World Health Organization. And Jackie Wambiru reports.
Just 3 days after Kenya received the first consignment of the Johnson & Johnson vaccine, consisting of 141,600 doses, Kenya on Monday received the second consignment of 880,320 COVID-19 Moderna vaccine doses to help in the war against the pandemic.
The uptake of vaccines in the country is very encouraging, as the majority of Kenyans have responded well to our call to come out and get vaccinated. At the rate at which we are moving, and pending no supply problems or constraints, we expect to attain the 10 million target set by His Excellency the President that we must achieve by December of this year.
Speaking at the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport while receiving the consignment donated by the U.S. government, Health Chief Administrative Secretary Dr. Rashid Aman urged Kenyans to come out and get vaccinated and not to be selective of brand names.
And that no vaccine is superior to the other when it comes to prevention of severe corona disease and prevention of death. Therefore, we urge all Kenyans, when going out for vaccination, that we shall not be emphasizing on the brand names, but rather ensuring that every eligible Kenyan gets vaccinated against COVID-19.
Our recommendation is that vaccines will be allocated to a facility. When you go to that facility, the vaccine that you get is a quality assured vaccine, and it will protect you.
National COVID-19 Vaccines Task Force Chairman Willie Sakwale pointing out that the government has put in place measures to ensure persons with disabilities are given priority in the vaccination process.
We have now revised our deployment plan. It will be out this week, and we've added a number of priority groups, expanded them, and people living with disability is now a distinct priority group, as well as people who have underlying medical conditions above the age of 18.
The consignment brings to 1.76 million doses that Kenya has so far received from the US after an initial batch of 880,460 Moderna doses received 2 weeks ago.
It is when we are vaccinated and a large number of Kenyans are vaccinated that we can have some level of comfort that we are managing the virus well. This will allow us to be able to consider relaxing some of the protocols that we have put in place.
Well, as you plan to get your COVID-19 jab, for those who have not, let's move on to Crime Watch. There's a disturbing item. A 65-year-old woman is being held at the Kabati police station in Murang'a for allegedly killing her 99-year-old husband in cold blood. The heinous act that happened at Kagumoini village in Gaishanj ward is said to have ensued after a disagreement over food. Yusuf Farah with that story.
The family says Margaret Wanjiru and her husband have been engaged in marital tiffs for some time now.
After father kumwambia atulia, asubuhi ni asubuhi sana kupiga kelele na kutusiana, ndio akatulia. Yes, alitulia, lakini sasa venye alirudi kwa kitchen, mimi nilikuwa na prepare breakfast. Akaacha kurudi kitchen, ndio akachukua panga, akaanza kumkatakata kichwa.
The family says Margaret Wanjiru and her husband have been engaged in marital tiffs for some time now. Betty Mumbi alleges that their mother has also allegedly killed 5 of her children through strangulation. Sarafina Nyambura says their mother's decision to stop them from feeding their aged father has been a major source of dispute in the family.
Mama yangu ni mtu mbaya kwa sababu siku wakati mmoja alimnyima chakula na akamgoga hapa kwa head.
Meanwhile, an 8-year-old man from Mayungu area of Lurambi in Kakamega has been caught trying to commit suicide after he allegedly defiled his 15-year-old granddaughter. Julius Juma is said to have abused the minor and impregnated her.
Nikaenda nikauliza ndugu yangu mara 3, kiwa wewe ndio ulipeana mchukuu mimba ukubali? Akakataa, akasema siwezi. Baada ya hiyo maneno, kitu yenye litendeka, nikapata yeye amefanya nini, amekunywa dawa.
Elsewhere, over 30 business people are counting losses after their shops were gutted down by fire in Kamungu and Kiamba shopping center in Muguga ward, Kiambu County. Residents say the fire started in one of the electronic shops at around 11 p.m. on Sunday.
Hiyo moto ilianza kitu kaa saa 5 ikiwa imebakia dakika 5 na tukajaribu kuzima hiyo moto lakini hatukuweza. Lakini gari ya county ikaitwa, ikajaribu, ikakuja na moto ikazimika, lakini hizi manyumba zote ama hii mashop yote hakuna kitu tuliokota.
Finally, angry villagers in Karinga Kamayo location in Lari have lynched a man after he allegedly raped and killed his 14-year-old daughter.
Kasikia hiyo kitendo ilitendeka ati huyo mtoto waonekani. Tulikuja tukatafuta kuangalia na zaidi tuliangalia na kukaexpect ati baba yake ndio alifanya hiyo kitendo. Alijaribu kutoroka na akafuatwa ondelaia na kakamatio pale Muweko, mahali ya Muweko na akachomwa.
The locals say they discovered the body of the teenager in a deserted pit latrine before pouncing on the suspect. Yusuf Hilo, Prime Edition.
Well, the Crime Watch segment brings us to our first commercial break right here on Prime Edition.
Absolutely. We are live on all our social media platforms, on Twitter at KBC Channel 1 News. The hashtag to use is Prime Edition. Do engage us and stay with us.
Ambayo mnaiona hapa ndio inayomleta rais wa Uganda Dr. Obote hapa katika uwanja wa ndege wa Nairobi. Na hapo sasa rais wa Uganda Dr. Obote anateremka kutoka kwenye ndege hiyo na analakiwa na baba taifa Mzee Jomo Kenyatta kama vile mnavyowaona pale mbele kwenye ndege hiyo.
To get control your thinking as your skiza tune, dial *811*961#.
Did you know that you have complete control over everything that surrounds you? Yes. Fully control over all that comes out of the seas, the earth, and the universe. That control is your thinking. Good thoughts bear good fruits, but bad thoughts will always bear bad fruits. Control your thinking.
To get control your thinking as your skiza tune, dial *811*961#. *811*961#.
It took a very short time wewe kumharibia familia yake. So jambo la kununua nyumba is not a big deal for him.
I'm not up for your stupid silly games, wakili. Kwani ni mtoto wangu? Hata akaenda nyumba za wazee mimi sijali, ama wewe wajali? Ameenda kwa boyfriend yake. Huu wazimu wa nyumba umemchokesha. Hawa watu ukiwapatia nafasi watakupanda kichwani na mambo yako yote yataharibika. Ndio maana inabidi unawafuga kama mbuzi.
Together is dangerous. He is my father's enemy.
Over my dead body.
Welcome back to KBC Prime Edition.
Let's now continue with our coverage tonight. And health workers in Mombasa have downed their tools in protest against delayed salaries and non-remittance of statutory deductions. The caregivers allege that the county government has refused to reason out with them, failing to attend a series of talks organized by the stalemate, as Michael Mwandiga now reports.
There appears to be no let up in the ongoing standoff between the Mombasa County government and the healthcare workers. After months of fruitless engagements over their welfare, health workers say they have had enough.
Every government knows that every month is supposed to pay a certain amount of money to her own staff. So we don't expect that health workers we should be going on strike. But unfortunately, when you are working with an employer who takes little regard of you, then we are forced to take this course. It's our constitutional right that we have to force this employer now through a petition. We have to do a picketing, we demonstrate and ensure that our salaries are paid. And we are calling upon all employees of Mombasa now to join us, including those who are working under the County Workers Union, to join us in the streets and force this government to pay salaries.
On Monday, the health workers made some last-ditch efforts to petition the county executive and the assembly to address their plight.
They have not been able to address the issue of pending bills. We are having pending bills dating back to 2014, where we have contractors who did business with Mombasa County and they have not been able to pay. So with those and the many other issues of incompetency and lack of transparency and accountability by the finance department, that's where we are now. So we are calling upon all agencies now, not only the governor, but all agencies including the anti-corruption and the ombudsman and the control of budget to look into the issues affecting the Mombasa County government as far as finances are concerned.
Today, until the issue of salary is addressed, all public laboratories in hospitals remain closed. Officers are not able to attend to the citizens of Mombasa because they have not been facilitated.
But as the standoff enrages, the true impact of it may be felt in public health facilities dotted across the county. The strike by health workers may perhaps be viewed as a step in the wrong direction in a county which has often appeared keen on battling the raging global pandemic. Our efforts to reach the Mombasa County Health CEC Godfrey Nato were futile as our calls went unanswered.
The mobile you're calling is not responding. Airtel, Jumbo.
Reporting for Prime Edition from Mombasa County, I'm Michael Mwandiga.
Let's cast our eyes wide and move on the continental front. The leader of the coup, which ousted Guinea's President Alpha Condé, has said that a new union government is said to be formed in weeks. Colonel Mamadou Doumbouya told ministers who served in Condé's government that there would be no witch hunt against former officials. And as Yusuf Farah reports, the United Nations, the African Union, the regional body ECOWAS has condemned the coup and called for a return to civilian rule.
The group responsible for the oust of Guinea's President Alpha Condé says a new union government will be formed in the coming weeks amidst calls by the UN, African Union and ECOWAS for the return to civilian rule. Colonel Mamadou Doumbouya told ministers who served in Mr. Condé's government that there will be no witch hunt against former officials. The president remains in detention with his fate still unclear. Former ministers have been told that they can't leave the country and have to hand over their official vehicles to the military. The soldiers claim they seized power to end rampant corruption and mismanagement. Condé won a third presidential term in a violently disputed election last October after pushing through a new constitution in March 2020 which allowed him to sidestep the country's two-term limit, provoking mass protests. Yusuf Farah reporting for Prime Edition.
From Guinea back to Nairobi, Kenya, to take our second break.
And Karen Jenga is up next to the day's business news.
Quiero amarte de una forma diferente, de otro modo.
And if Flavia loves you, you have my blessings.
Thank you, Daddy.
Eloisa, I want to be with you until the very last moment of my life. Bravo!
This year, the winner by a clear margin is this young man, Lucio Montesinos.
I will love you. Always.
Always.
Quiero amarte de una forma diferente, de otro modo, nunca igual al de otra gente, respetando tus...
Introducing our new Miss World Kenya 2021, Sharon. Ladies and gentlemen, let's make some noise for Sharon.
As much as there's still major global music interest, local genres such as gengetone are still a big hit. She has been breaking and setting new records as far as her music career is concerned. Mviri the Storyteller was next.
Yani mapenzi wewe. Now Juliani went to record a statement at the police station after receiving threats from a number that called him and then later texted him threatening that he was going to kill him.
Welcome back. I trust that you've had a lovely day. Now time to take a look at the latest in the world of business. My name is Carol Jenger. Now, property tax can be a major source of government revenue if both the national and the county governments can work in unison in implementing the levy. Speaking at the 6th African Tax Research Network Conference, KRA Commissioner Jandroge Mboro said digitization of property tax that is processes is the first step towards realizing the underlying tax revenue potential.
property taxes have a tremendous potential to constitute a key revenue stream for Kenya if properly harnessed. It is estimated that the contribution of property taxes to the gross domestic product in developing countries in Africa is at an average of 0.38%, while in developed countries it averages 2.2%. Speaking at the 6th African Tax Research Network Conference under the theme Maximizing the Revenue Potential of Property Taxes Through Digitization, Kenya Revenue Authority Commissioner General Githinji Mburu said property taxes contribution to government coffers is still minimal, adding that its full potential is yet to be realized. He says digitization of capital gain tax and rental income tax in Kenya has improved service delivery and widened the tax base. Mburu further noted that partnership between revenue administrators and other government agencies which primarily deal with such properties at both the county and national level and provision of requisite utilities required by property owners is key. They cited weak collection system, infrastructure, administrative and technical capacity and weak links between taxes and service delivery as some of the challenges facing developing countries in administration of property tax. Financial institutions have been urged to increase funding to the agriculture sector to boost Kenya's food security. Agriculture Principal Secretary Professor Hamadi Boga has said lack of proper funding is derailing Kenya's dream of improving food security and nutrition. Official data indicates that financial institutions advance only 3.3% of total gross loans to the agriculture sector in the year 2020.
Currently, Africa spends an estimated 8.4 trillion shillings to import food, despite having some of the biggest arable lands in the world. The situation is likely to worsen due to supply chain disruptions that has left more than 160 million people in need of food aid. Despite its economic potential, the sector remains underfunded, with most countries in Africa spending less than 5% of the national annual budgets on agriculture. Kenya spends about 2.3% of its annual budget on agricultural programs. Agricultural experts now say there is need for a collaboration between the public and the private sectors to ensure policies that attract more investment in the sector are crafted. Lending institutions have been encouraged to increase funding by providing seed capital for innovations in the agriculture value chain, to modernize agriculture and make it more attractive to the youth. Speaking during the 11th annual summit of the African Green Revolution Forum, agriculture stakeholders have said financial inclusion is important to ensure more women acquire land. Investors have been urged to target financing rural agriculture as a long-term strategy to strengthen the agriculture value chain. Experts have further said proper soil analysis will help boost food production by helping farmers access critical data on their soil nutrition composition.
Livelihood is inextricably linked with soil health.
We need to improve the microbial populations in the soils. We need the soils to be able to break down the nutrients so that the root systems can grow well and the plant can be strong and healthy.
Benson Rioba reporting for Prime Edition.
Now, foreign exchange reserves dipped by over 11.3 billion shillings after the Central Bank of Kenya released more dollars into the market to cushion the Kenyan shilling. The banking regulator has, however, not given reasons for the huge drop, but says reserve remains adequate and are within the statutory import cover of at least 4 months. According to the latest Central Bank Weekly Bulletin, the foreign exchange reserves fell to 977.1 billion shillings from 988.4 billion shillings the previous week. This was a 11.3 billion shillings drop as the Central Bank of Kenya released more dollars into the market to cushion the Kenyan shilling. The bank regulator did not give reasons for the huge drop, but says the usable foreign exchange reserves remain adequate at 8.883 million USD, which is 5.43 months of import cover and meets the CBK's statutory requirement to endeavour to maintain at least 4 months of import cover and the EAC region's convergence criteria of 4.5 months of import cover. The releasing of the dollars into the market, however, did not bring down the depreciating wave, as the Kenyan shilling is today trading at 109.9 against the dollar. Last week, the local currency was exchanged at 110.09 units against the greenback, hitting a 7-month low due to depressed inflows from tourism and tea amid a recovering economy. The Central Bank of Kenya, however, says the Kenya shilling has remained stable against major international and regional currencies during the week ending September 2nd. Meanwhile, Naivas has sealed a deal with e-commerce firm Jumia to offer shoppers in Nairobi a contact-free shopping experience with the orders delivered to their doorstep. The two firms, who target to expand the offer countrywide, says today's online shopper is mobile-driven.
We've seen the shifts in consumer behavior where people, because of COVID, people do not want, not many people want to walk into a store. It gives them convenience and it still enables them to get the same fresh kind of produce that you can be able to get delivered to your doorstep in a very contactless manner.
And we anticipate at least Jumia is going to be at least 60 to 70% of that. That's a very significant portion of our revenue. And we anticipate that this particular launch today starts off with one branch at Prestige, and then now blows up to Nairobi, greater country and all, which is something not yet done. Nobody has actually gone 100% within our network of 75 stores.
Now to stories making headlines across the globe. Qualcomm Incorporated says it will supply a key computing chip for the digital dashboard in a new Renault electric vehicle. The company says Renault Megane E-Tech Electric will use its chips to power the vehicle's infotainment system using software from Alphabet Inc., Google and Qualcomm's a longtime partner in the Android phone market. Here are the details.
Qualcomm, the world's biggest supplier of key semiconductors in mobile phones, has been expanding into vehicles with chips that can power dashboards and infotainment systems at the same time. The company earlier this year announced a deal with General Motors to use Qualcomm chips. The Megane E-Tech Electric, which is expected to be unveiled at this month's IAA Mobility 2021 Automotive Trade Show in Munich, is expected to go on sale next year. Meanwhile, Texas is one of 2 locations in its state under consideration by Samsung Electronics for a $17 billion chip plant. Plans are underway to offer extensive property tax breaks if it is chosen by the South Korean tech giant. The city of Taylor is competing with Austin, also in the state of Texas, to land the plant, which is expected to create about 1,800 new jobs. If Samsung decides on Taylor, it plans to break ground by the first quarter of next year, with productions due to start by end of 2024. Finally, Singapore's aviation regulator said on Monday it would approve the return to service of the Boeing CO737 MAX more than 2 years after the plane was grounded, becoming the latest country in the Asia-Pacific region to do so. The approval is based on operators including Singapore Airline complying with airworthiness directives and additional flight crew training requirements, the Civil Aviation Authority of Singapore said in a statement. Singapore grounded the 737 MAX in March 2019 following 2 fatal crashes. The approval for its return comes months after the model returned to service in the United States and Europe, and follows more recent lifting of grounding orders in the countries including Australia, Fiji, Japan, India and Malaysia.
And that roundup brings to a close business news for tonight. My name is Carol Jenka. Up next is Richard Munga with the sports update. Have a good night.
A very short time wewe kumharibia familia yake. So jambo la kununua nyumba is not a big deal for him.
I'm not up for your stupid silly games, Wakili. Kwani ni mtoto wangu? hata akaenda nyumba za wazee, mimi sijali. Ama wewe wajali? Ameenda kwa boyfriend yake. Huu wazimu wa nyumba umemchokesha.
Hawa watu ukiwapatia nafasi watakupanda kichwani na mambo yako yote yataharibika. Ndio maana inabidi unawafuga kama mbuzi.
Being together is dangerous. He is my father's enemy.
Over my dead body.
Oh, good evening. I'm Richard Munga with the latest in sports, and we get off to a good start whereby Gentrix Shikangwa scored late on as Vihiga Queens booked a slot in the final of the CECAFA regional qualifiers for the inaugural edition of the CAF Women's Champions League following a 2-1 win over Tanzania's Simba Queens. After a barren draw in the first half, Morina Cheng gave host Vihiga Queens the lead in the 63rd minute.
This is here, and that beautiful header there. Beautiful header there by Morina Cheng in the 65th minute put Vihiga Queens ahead, and of course a very, very delighted bench.
Only for substitute Aisha Mnuka to level the score 7 minutes later.
And a big punt by Bobo picks out Flaving Mawete, and an easy tap in there by Aisha Mnuka, who had just come in, and a fast touch on the ball from a solid pass by Flavit Mawete Musolo.
However, Vihiga kept the fight and scored the winner with 2 minutes remaining when Harambee Starlets forward Shikangwa dumped home a header, rising highest inside the box to nod home a free kick from Alice Muderi.
And Alice Muderi with a beautiful cross.
Acheng has now scored 7 goals in the competition, followed by Shikangwa, who has netted 6 times. The teams are battling for a chance to represent the region at the CAF Champions League that will be played in Egypt later this year. Well, congratulations, of course, to Vihiga Queens. We'll be taking on CBE of Ethiopia on Thursday in the final. That is after in regular time. Now, still on football matters, Kenya national football team Harambee Stars. The match ended in a 1-1 scoreline by full time.
With 2 games, 2 points, it's not so bad. I mean, we would have liked to have 4 points, but we did our best today, so we will still plan on how to face Mali because it's back-to-back. We go to Morocco, then they come back to Nairobi. And I think in Nairobi is another story altogether, but let us deal with the Mali game in Morocco first.
Stars will now focus on October's qualifiers, a 2-legged fixture against Mali, before return matches against Uganda and Rwanda. To other matters now. The 2021 FIBA Africa Youth Camp was launched today at the Nyayo National Stadium, where 8 Kenyan ladies and 3 gentlemen were selected to participate. The camp was aimed at recruiting players from grassroots levels, nurture them professionally, with a view of including them in the national team.
Speaking after the launch of the camp, the NBA Africa CEO Victor Williams said that the camp is aimed at promoting the game in Africa as well as in Kenya. Williams also added that they also intend to register more camps in the continent, where the players will be trained and recruited to play international games.
The partnership between NBA Africa and FIBA Africa is important because we represent really 2 leading organizations in the basketball world. That have both made a commitment to grow the game in Africa. And our goals overlap when it comes to, especially to growing the game amongst youth.
The 4-day event set to end on Thursday will see 8 Kenyan ladies and 3 men take part in a team that is set to be trained by renowned American-trained coaches. Daniel Mwendwa, Prime Edition Sports.
Also, 11-year-old junior golfer Mboya carded an impressive round of 49 points to emerge the overall winner at the Limuru Country Club's leg of the ongoing NCBA Golf Series. She becomes the Series 13th overall winner and books a slot together with the other 4 top finishers at the Limuru event to play at the grand finale, which will be held in December in Karen. She is now the second junior golfer to claim the overall winner's spot in the series after 12-year-old Nathan Mwangi, who claimed the overall win at the Karen Country Club leg of the series. She finished the round with 10 points clear of her nearest challenger, 0 handicap Dennis Mara, who ended the day with 39 points to claim the winner's slot in the men's category ahead of handicap 15 Ken Anunda, who claimed the runner-up spot with 39 points. Among the ladies, handicap 24 Grace Kimeria carded a round of 38 points to claim victory in the category ahead of handicap 31 Priscilla Waithaka, who carded a round of 36 points to finish runners-up. The series now moves to Kakamega Golf Club this coming Saturday.
You know, we had a junior win in Karen. We expect a number of more juniors to win as we go through this series. So it's very exciting to see that when we talk about the best golfers in the country, you find 15-year-olds, 14-year-olds in that group. That is great hope, creates great hope for this game into the future. And I must say, for those who watched the junior tournament in Karen that we had recently, I mean, the amount of talent, the upcoming talent was unbelievable.
Well, that's it for tonight's sports update right here on KBC with me, Richard Munga. But just a slight update for the motorsports fans and Formula One to be specific. Valtteri Bottas has, of course, signed for Alfa Romeo. That is for next season, meaning that George Russell will get a chance to be bumped up to the first team, that is Mercedes, of course, racing alongside Lewis Hamilton. Well, that's it for sports. Do have a lovely night. Don't go too far. Museo and Mboya coming up shortly. Good night.
Well, thank you very much, Richard, and thank you all for making time to be with us. We obviously value your feedback.
And thanks to Lemaina, tuned in from Nairobi City, Kibiri tuned in as always to Prime Edition, Job Mokaya watching you live from Mutitu Wandoa in Kitui. Nyamira County is watching. That's what Simba Richard Okora is saying. Thank you so much for your tweets. Thank you for watching Prime Edition this Monday night. We will see you again tomorrow night as we engage the chair COVID-19 vaccine deployment in the country, Dr. Willie Sakwale, on the vaccine uptake.
That's an important one.
In the country, of course. Maybe, I don't know how many people have taken their jab yet, but we'll be finding out on the deployment plan by the government tomorrow. Until then, I'm Purity Museo. Lucy Maura has been our sign language interpreter tonight. Good night and God bless.
And I'm Mboya from Broadcasting House. Thank you for watching. Good night and God bless. Bye-bye.